local, now. This is Texas Today HD.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Texas Today. It is 5 o'clock, April 19th. We are in now a search and recovery mode out of West this morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chris Radcliffe alongside Stephanie Domerat. We're glad that you're waking up and joining us as we continue to learn more. And we welcome in our viewers over at KAGS in the Bryan College Station area. You'll be with us for the next 2 hours, taking you up to the Today Show as well.
We do have something to tell you about overnight. We do want to say that, of course, this is now a search and recovery effort. Like we mentioned yesterday, the focus was search and rescue. Today, we're more on search and recovery. 11 people have been confirmed dead since yesterday, as well as 3 of those being firefighters. And
we do have some names and some faces now to go with these firefighters. KXAS out of Dallas has confirmed on the left of your screen there, that's Captain Kenny Harris and Buck Upmore were 2 of the people that were killed, along with Morris Bridges. He is the third, Morris Bridges. It was confirmed he has 3 children, ages 2, 17, and 18. And then Captain Kenny Harris, on Thursday, the Dallas Fire Rescue announced that Captain Harris was killed in that explosion. He lives in West and was an off-duty fireman at the time, but responded to assist the Dallas Fire Rescue, of course, immediately on scene. Let's take a listen.
As of this afternoon, 80% of all of the residences that have been affected by fire or by the blast have been cleared, and we will be working tomorrow to clear the last 20% so that we can continue the investigation process. With that said, approximately 3/4 of the apartment complex has also been cleared, and tomorrow the last quarter will be cleared. I will tell you that there is damage to structures from the blast site up to the last structure at the interstate. And of course, we're seeing minimal damage out closer to the interstate, but we do have damage in a pretty wide radius.
Now, according to the Assistant State Fire Marshal, 80% of the homes that were affected by the explosion have been cleared at this time. They were able to clear 80% of those houses. You can just see, though, the destruction just is devastating.
Yeah, and we could see more of the explosion radius, kind of where it took place, and we're getting a better geographic look as well of the city of West as we find out exactly where that bomb radius, what shapes it went out to, and you know, more of the cleanup continues today as it becomes less of a search and rescue, but now a search and find mission. We also want to hear from some of those close to those who were killed.
If it was our time, we wouldn't be here. I mean, there's people around us that aren't here, and we're just truly blessed. And just pray for all the families that aren't as lucky as us. It was pretty traumatic, you know. It's stuff you see on TV, you know, stuff like this doesn't happen in West Texas. You know, we don't have hurricanes. We don't, you know, we're not in the Metroplex. We don't, you know, we're just a little town, and you know, we're not used to stuff like this. Hey, are we going to be okay, Dad? I said, we're going to be fine, son. And he told me, you know, I can feel my arms, feel my legs. You know, he was having trouble hearing and breathing and seeing, you know, just from all the smoke, the gas, all the toxic fumes. But
as a father, you're supposed to protect your son. How did you
feel? It all took over, you know, and I didn't realize it till we were at the hospital. The adrenaline takes over, and I didn't feel any pain. You know, they're asking me what's wrong with you. I'm like, I don't know, until I started looking around. And you don't know till you're in that situation, and the love of a father, it takes over.
This man and his son actually went to investigate the fire, and as soon as that man realized that it was the fertilizer plant on fire, he turned his car around immediately and started speeding away the other way, and that's exactly when it exploded. And they were actually caught in that, and their vehicle was thrown off the road. It was skidded off to the side of the road, he went on to say.
We're going to check in with Chris Davis, who is in West this morning with more on one of those homes.
Yeah, that's right, Stephanie. Like you said, damage could be seen throughout lot of parts of the city. Downtown, there were some windows broken out. But really, the main area that they're still focusing on is this area right behind me. We're actually at a corner of the area that is still blocked off. We're at Columbus and Harrison right now. You can see cop cars like this one behind me stretching all the way east down Columbus here, as well as if you look way in the distance down there, you can see even more of them going down Harrison to the north right here. And this is still cordoned off. They're not letting anyone in or out, which is not much of a change from where we were yesterday. They're still trying to figure out just what still needs to be done. You were talking earlier about how they've cleared most of the houses in that area, but there is still a lot of work to be done. And the cops that we've talked to said they're prepared to be here just as long as it takes. That could be all day today, but we're just going to have to wait and find out, see what's uncovered today, and see if we can actually narrow down where the actual blast radius was, and see if we can't get some more information about the actual damage that took place in that radius. So we'll be here, we'll be talking to people today, and we'll be trying to get as much information about that as possible. Chris and Stephanie, back to you.
All right, very good, Chris. Obviously, you're in one of the areas that people have been let back into. As of what we've been hearing from DPS, it's going to be a little while longer before people are allowed back into the more devastated areas. How close are you to the homes that were really affected?
Well, we're still a bit away. This is sort of like I said, one of the corners of the area that is blocked off. So we're still we're about as far as you can be, and still sort of near the area, but still pretty far from the actual blast zone. We're just trying to show you the areas that are still blocked off. There's still a lot that is inaccessible to people, even though they are trying to reopen parts of the city. A lot of it is just still completely blocked off, and there's no way for people to get through there. So we'll try to get a bit closer as the day goes on, and as they try to narrow down this area that is closed off.
All right, good work, Chris Davis, live for us in West right now. Of course, we'll be able to see more when the sun comes up. Thank you very much, Chris. He's in that front part of the zone, I guess, where the devastation. Then, as you go back further and further and further closer to the bomb, to the explosion epicenter, the damage is going to get progressively worse.
Yeah, and we're coming up, more than a day later, and those police trucks still out, police cars still out there blocking off the area. Still very much an active scene right now, of course. So. And a lot of people also trying to recover from this and trying to move forward. We talked to some people who were affected.
Like I said, it's something you see on the world news or on the news in another town. You never know. It's never your town. And it's here now.
Well, the little one was sleeping, so she was just excited when she woke up in the hotel this morning. The older one, he was the one, he wanted to leave. He said, let's leave, let's leave. We finally left, and he was just happy we were gone, out of the town.
He was scared?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. We all were.
All right, we're going to show you more aerial shots here as we waited for a lot of these to come into our newsroom yesterday. Stephanie and I were on the air from a little after 4 in the morning until 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon, and we really didn't start getting those aerial shots until about 8 or 9 in the morning from helicopters and aerial coverage. You just couldn't get out there with another camera, and you could see most of the blown out zones there. There's just a few hot spots that were still left simmering late afternoon, as this is some of the freshest video that we've gotten to see, Stephanie, because we saw a lot of the stuff with the smoke still rising, and you could just see a lot of twisted debris, not much left at all.
And also, it's probably not a surprise, but we do want to tell you that a boil water notice was issued for the city of West. Residents will be notified when the water is safe to consume again without boiling. If you have any questions about the boil order, you can call 254-366-1503. That's the number there if you're interested in more information about the boil order for the city. And of course, one of the school campuses was completely destroyed, but West ISD has said they will be resuming classes on Monday.
Yeah, West Intermediate is the one they're going to have to figure out exactly what they can do with the students. Of course, surrounding communities and other cities have been wanting to offer up their bungalow, any kind of overflow space that they have, because really, as long as the students have their books and their teachers with them, they can continue their lessons. Yeah. So obviously, it'll be very inconvenient out of their home school, and that's very frightening for the children. But we wish that the best, of course. Again, the State Firemen's Association Association is saying that there have been 11 confirmed fatalities in the West explosion as far as first responders go. So that's the number we've got today. But again, the mayor of West saying that approximately up 40 people are still missing or unaccounted for. It doesn't mean they're all dead, just means that they haven't been checked off the roll sheet yet as far as someone getting in touch with them.
Not only homes were devastated by this explosion, but businesses in the area. We got a lot of looks of different areas. This was one business in West that was completely destroyed, you can see on the inside.
Yeah, I believe it was inside a funeral home here, and you could imagine the damage. I mean, from the wall, they're pushing everything back up against the wall, and the roof parts coming in as well. I mean, that just shouldn't be open on the side. We want to thank our first responders who are actually able to, and the business owners who are able, actually the only ones who are allowed to go in there and actually get these photographs for us, because most of what we've seen is from up high. And again, it's just left a lot of us feeling paralyzed. What can we do to help out? Well, one way we can help out is by donating blood, and they're encouraging today, again, a blood donation. And it's a Friday afternoon today. If ever there was a time to knock off work maybe a couple hours earlier, or maybe to take an extended lunch break and go and be able to do that, we'd ask you to. So many people generously were doing it yesterday. You could see at Carter Blood Care, they fed people pizza who were just waiting in line patiently to donate blood in the Waco area, right off Valley Mills, New Road. We know the area well. A line sometimes took 3 to 4 hours, but people patiently just waited and gave blood, and according to them, they were happy to do it.
They're also saying that, you know, obviously so you can set up an appointment, because donating blood there's a shelf life for it. So if you want to instead set up an appointment, you don't have to wait. You can also help out victims over the next few days.
If you give blood today, you're probably going to wait, and you might wait a long time. If you don't want to wait, we have blood drives every day going on, and we have donor center that's open, and you can make appointments at the donor center if you want to have a scheduled time to give.
They need blood. I mean, we don't give them blood, they'll die. So, I mean, everybody's got to pitch in.
Central Texas is so close-knit. This is what we do. We may not know each other, but we're family, and if this is what we have to do to help somebody out that even we don't know, that's what we're going to do.
I've never donated blood, but West is right down the street. I know a couple of people that went to high school there, and I mean, they're our neighbors, so we got to be there for them, right?
Now, I know the younger kids are kind of off the hook on this one. They are looking for adults who can give blood, and there is a weight limit. I think they're expecting you to be 110 pounds or so, or at least 100 pounds before it's safe to donate blood. I know a lot of people are very squeamish about needles, but thank you to all of those who have braved their fears and actually made sure that they do it, or are really going to toughen up and do it today as well. So we have some still photographs from some people yesterday who just patiently went in and did their civic duty, and in their own way, were heroes themselves.
3 to 4 hours sometimes they waited. We heard from our Facebook viewers telling us that, and that there was a long wait, but people were willing to do it because they know that these people, even though they don't know them, some of them, they do know them because they're their neighbors. So it's sweet to see that, definitely. We also, there will be a blood drive today, we want to mention, at the Extra Co Event Center in Waco. The American Red Cross is holding it. It's from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. today. So if you're interested in giving blood, they're asking you to come out and help out.
Chris Davis is up in West. He's as close as he can possibly get to the location there of the epicenter of the explosion. Chris, what's the latest this morning?
Well, we're still sort of playing the waiting game right now, Chris and Stephanie. We're out here. The sun is starting to come up. As obviously you can see, we're at the corner here of Columbus and Harrison. These roads are still completely blocked off. We actually just saw a shift change here at Columbus and Harrison, but all the way down Columbus here to the east, you can see there are still some flashing lights down there, not letting people anywhere north of that. And it's the same thing if we look down Harrison. There are still a lot of roads blocked off. Now, I want to say we've been talking a lot, of course, about the first responders and about just how much good they did. I do want to mention these people, these officers that are sitting on the corners, they're putting in very long hours too. They are, keeping people safe, keeping people out of the damaged areas, making sure that people are staying safe here in the city. They're working 8 to 12-hour shifts themselves. So we want to say that they are working just as hard on these corners, keeping people safe. And obviously we see some new emergency vehicles coming in right now. We will go ahead and take a look into that here in just a couple minutes. But right now we'll go ahead and send it back to the studio, Chris and Steph.
All right, thanks so much, Chris Davis, reporting from West this morning. Have a great Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Texas Today.
As press conferences come in and news updates come along the way, we'll update you all morning long.
Local now. This is Texas Today HD.
The president has a lot on his agenda, where he's headed tomorrow, and a look at his second-term goals.
Plus, heavy rain in San Antonio caused this sinkhole. What officials are saying about it?
And parents in Oklahoma are recalling homework questions that a teacher issued that were very creepy. More on that strange assignment. It was from a substitute. We'll be tackling that story in just a moment. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in on May 1st. I'm Chris Radcliffe.
And I'm Stephanie Domrak. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Hope you had a great Tuesday out there. Some pretty nice weather. We're hearing going into May. It's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, we're above average now. Tomorrow, well below average. A little roller coaster ride when it comes to weather. Let's take a look outside right now at some current conditions. A few clouds at our Allen Samuels Fiat camera over Waco. Temperatures in Waco now 66, and it's 66 in Temple and 64 in Killeen, with winds up to about 8 miles per hour at this hour. There's some low clouds out there, and we're on the lookout for fog this morning. 67 by 9 a.m. with the fog and mizzle. I keep saying mizzle.
Mistletoe?
Mizzle.
Mild and drizzle makes mizzle. That's okay.
No,
I see what you're doing.
and drizzle makes mizzle. Oh my gosh.
That too. There you go.
79 by noon and 84 degrees by 4 p.m. I think I'm going to go have a little bit of breakfast.
Have some M&Ms you were talking about. Now we all want M&Ms this
I'll have a
morning.
little breakfast, and I'll try to give you your forecast again in about 10 minutes.
We'll be ready for you then. Okay,
all
thanks,
right.
Mary. Moving on to your news now. We're talking about politics. President Obama is gearing up for a trip to Mexico, where he'll be talking about immigration reform.
But immigration isn't the only issue on his plate. The president is dealing with budget cuts and gun control. He's also trying to close Guantanamo Bay, but says it's difficult while he's also dealing with all the violence in Syria.
If we end up rushing to judgment without hard, effective evidence, then we can find ourselves in a position where we can't mobilize the international community to support what we do.
The president also defended the FBI when they came under fire for their investigation of the Boston bombing suspects.
Well, a court document made public yesterday reveals ricin was found in a man's former martial arts studio in Mississippi. Police found ricin in James Everett Dushke's former studio, as well as a dust mask taken from the business, which also tested positive for ricin. Dushke is charged with making and producing ricin as part of the investigation into poison-laced letters that were sent to President Obama, as well as U.S. Senator Roger Wicker and a Mississippi judge.
As cleanup continues in West this morning, some families are waiting on insurance claims now. The most devastated, Zone 3, was only opened back up over the weekend. Since then, the streets have been filled with insurance adjusters, contractors, volunteers. But Brian Padgett says his insurer told him he has cleanup before his claim could be filed. Meanwhile, most of his neighbors' homes have been declared losses already, and they are under construction already. Brian hired a lawyer to help get himself some answers.
It's sad that you got to get to that point where you got to get somebody to come get answers for you, instead of just answering them when we ask them.
I am extremely surprised that their insurance company has not been around, because I know everyone else has seen their people.
Brian's insurance company was not immediately available for comment.
Live, local, now. This is Texas Today HD.
We're going to have a special report on Pope Francis's inaugural Mass this morning, what the scene looked like.
And a domestic dispute in Waco quickly turns violent Monday night. We'll have all the details on that.
And what if a phone call to 911 revealed your information to the operator immediately on the other side of the line? More on the new technology that Bell County is finalizing.
Topping our news now this half hour, of course, the inauguration of Pope Francis.
Yeah, it's a big day. The world is watching. Hundreds of thousands of people are in St. Peter's Square this morning to mark the occasion. And NBC's Matt Lauer is live in Rome. He's part of the team with NBC that's been covering the events that are taking place there. And let's throw it out to Rome right now, and the major capital there of Italy, and find out what's going on. Here's Matt Lauer.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to an NBC News special report on a beautiful day here in Vatican City. I'm Matt Lauer for the historic installation of Pope Francis.
And we have some breaking news to tell you about now. Our NBC affiliate out of San Antonio. It's the studio, the building has caught fire.
Yeah, WOAI, many of you know it if you're from the San Antonio area, caught fire around 5:30 this morning. So it just happened. They actually put their anchors outside. The building has lost power. We want to show you what their morning crew had to say.
As you can see behind us, firefighters continue to battle what's left of a fire here at WOAI. Ladders are still there. No flames coming out of the building right now. Everybody's been evacuated okay, and power has been shut off.
It's been shut off due to precaution. You can see our sign that was illuminated not that long ago, now dark. That also means our signal is off the air. We'll continue to give you updates right here on our Facebook page.
Okay, again, we want to stress to everybody that what we heard, there's no one was hurt. Fortunately, the building was fully evacuated, but a very strange thing there.
Welcome back, everybody. On your Wednesday morning, state lawmakers discussed passing a bill yesterday that would pay for weapon training and allow teachers to carry a gun on campus.
It would apply to public school districts and charter schools that don't already have armed security guards. The Texas Department of Public Safety would handle the firearm training for 2 employees per campus. The bill was not passed, but left pending instead. It will be taken up as soon as the Senate reaches a general agreement.
Accused Fort Hood shooter Nadal Hassan returned to post for another pretrial hearing today.
At issue, to what extent an expert terrorism witness will be allowed to testify. Judge Tara Osborne could also rule on a change of venue that was discussed in the last hearing. Hassan's trial is scheduled for July the 1st. He's accused, of course, of killing 13 people and wounding 32 others in the November 2009 Fort Hood massacre. Our web team will be live blogging today's hearing, so you can get in on that action. Just head over to our website, kcentv.com, starting at 10 a.m. this morning.
DNA testing could soon be required for death penalty cases here in Texas.
Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott voiced his support for the measure, which would ensure that innocent people aren't executed, we hope. Supporters also say that it would cut down on the number of appeals, which delays justice for victims' families. Under current state law, DNA testing is not required prior to trial in capital cases. And DNA evidence is what exonerated Michael Morton. That's a man who was wrongfully convicted of his wife's murder and imprisoned for 25 years of his life that he can't get back. A year and a half ago, he was exonerated after another man, Mark Norwood, was connected to the murder based on DNA evidence. Norwood's trial began on Monday at the Tom Green County Courthouse in San Angelo. The trial for the 58-year-old is expected to take about 2 weeks.
Well, fewer people are illegally crossing America's border with Mexico, but the region saw a big increase in immigrant deaths in 2012, according to a recent report.
U.S. Border Patrol identified 477 deaths along the southwest border, up from 375 the year before. This, according to the report from the National Foundation for American Policy, an Arlington, Virginia-based group that researches immigration issues. According to the NFAP analysis, an immigrant attempting to cross legally into the U.S. today is 8 times more likely to die in an attempt than a decade ago. The report also stated that a 5-fold increase in the number of Border Patrol agents over the past 2 decades may have resulted in immigrants venturing into more dangerous areas to make the crossing. And Texas senators have now approved a bill that would limit future statewide office holders to 2 consecutive terms. The Senate advanced the proposed amendment to the House with a vote of 27-4. The bill still has to be approved by voters, however. The amendment would apply to governors, lieutenant governors, attorneys general, and state agency commissioners. However, it would not apply to judges or the legislators themselves. Also, the proposal would exempt Rick Perry, who has been elected to 3 consecutive terms. New video into the dorm room of a former Florida college student who was allegedly planning a deadly attack is now been released. This is video released by University of Central Florida Police showing officers entering James Vakuraman's dorm with guns drawn. You can hear the fire alarm blaring in the background. Police say that he pulled the alarm early Monday morning in an attempt to get the 500 students in the building to rush outside. The video shows police entering the man's room and then finding the 30-year-old dead on the floor. Authorities say he killed himself. They also found weapons and 1,000 rounds of ammunition, as well as 4 homemade bombs. Millimeter mortar rounds suddenly exploded. In the aftermath of the tragic accident, the military has now issued a moratorium on firing similar mortars until an investigation has been completed. A memorial service to honor those who died was held at the Hawthorne Army Depot on Tuesday night.
And an update now to a story we first brought to you on Monday. Waco police are now investigating an officer-involved shooting after a U.S. Marshal shot a man in the face, and that man later died of his injury. 30-year-old Rancini Richardson was wanted for felony assault, criminal trespass, and had a state warrant for parole violation. U.S. Marshals were warned he was armed and dangerous. They attempted to arrest Richardson in his car Monday. Officers asked Richardson to show his hands. Instead, he reached downward. That's when a marshal shot Richardson. He was taken to Hillcrest Hospital, where he later died. Waco PD says the marshal fired his weapon in self-defense.
The teenager who killed 3 students and injured 3 others at a shooting rampage at his high school last year was given 3 life sentences without parole on Tuesday. But shortly before the judge handed down the sentence, TJ Lane unbuttoned his blue dress shirt to reveal his T-shirt underneath with the word killer scrawled out on it. Lane then made obscene gestures toward the victims' families and laughed as relatives addressed the court. The judge said Lane's crime and lack of remorse warranted the stiff prison sentence.
And we do have some breaking news this morning now to get to out of Killeen. We have an update on a standoff that started yesterday afternoon.
Texas Today's Rebecca Schleicher joins us now live from the 3600 block of Tatanka Road. Rebecca, what is the latest on the scene out there?
Well, Steph, Chris, after 15 and a half hours, the standoff is finally over. Police and SWAT team members went into the home and brought him out by force just before 5 o'clock this morning. You can see the command center is still set up behind me. They're still here cleaning up the area and assessing the rest of the situation, finding evidence. Roads are still closed. You can see the cops here stopping traffic from coming through here on Bunny Trail, the bigger road in this area, and other roads around here are still closed. They were also finally letting people back into their homes. They said about 5 or 6 homes were evacuated in this area for the homeowners' safety. They are now finally, after 15 and a half hours, allowed to return home from the Killeen Community Center where they did spend the night. They were evacuated around 1:30 when police first got the call yesterday. A couple got into an argument and the woman escaped with their daughter and was worried the man might hurt himself. A welfare check quickly turned into a standoff once he barricaded himself inside the home. He did have weapons inside and was threatening to commit suicide, so negotiators worked with him throughout the night. He actually came to the window a few times to talk to them. Finally, at around 4:56, they went in and got him without a problem. Roads will be open soon enough, they said, especially within the next 45 minutes to an hour. They expect to completely have this place back open as if nothing happened. They're saying that they're just happy that they've finished this without incident, and now, after 15 and a half hours, they're all finally able to go home. Chris, Stephanie.
News that it came to an end there. Thanks so much, Rebecca. We'll be checking in with her a little bit later on throughout the morning.
Yeah, keep us updated, Rebecca.
Esto es Telenoticias San Antonio, a las 5, más cerca de usted.
Bienvenidos a Telenoticias San Antonio, hoy lunes 7 de enero. El saludo a usted que nos escucha por Radio Fórmula Network. ¿Qué tal? Muy buenas tardes. Les habla Esmeralda Medellín. Las noticias empiezan ahora. E iniciamos con una noticia en desarrollo. Autoridades de policía investigan un asalto al banco. E iniciamos con la tragedia que ha conmovido a toda la nación, que dejó hasta el momento 27 muertos. Las condiciones del tiempo fueron el detonante para que el conductor de un camión de carga perdiera el control. Telenoticias San Antonio fue el primer medio en acudir a la escena del accidente. Una llamada amenazante contra una escuela primaria en el distrito de Alamo Heights provocó una profunda preocupación entre los padres de familia y la rápida movilización de las autoridades durante esta tarde. Como es de comprender, las inclemencias del tiempo han afectado a muchas personas. Inclusive se han registrado apagones, inundaciones y barricadas en diferentes zonas de la ciudad. Muchas son las campañas que se hacen para exhortar a la comunidad a dejar de fumar. Incluso ya es una ley, está prohibido en lugares públicos. Por eso, la próxima vez que quiera encender un cigarrillo, piénselo 2 veces. De esta manera nosotros nos despedimos. Le deseamos que pase la mejor de las noches. Hasta mañana.